Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and you are watching the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to talk about the Smiths. If anybody was going to be called the Beatles of the new wave scene or the Beatles of the indie rock scene of the 80s, it's going to be the Smiths. This is a band that has left their mark, and their audience, their legion of fans continues to grow to this very day, regardless of what Morrissey says and does. But this is an incredible band. Am I comparing them to the Beatles? No, I'm comparing their influence to the Beatles' influence. And, really they're right up there with one of the great British rock bands of all time. Now, before I get into talking about the band and showing you the albums that are in this box set, I usually like to start some of these videos off by telling you how I got into that band. That's basically because of my friend Matthew. We had been friends in high school, and we both graduated in 1982. I was kind of the dumb one, and he was the smart one. So he ended up going to study overseas and spent about a year or so in England. And I think he went over there about 83. And by the time he came back in 84, we started hanging out together again. He says, "You got to listen to this band. I think you're going to love them." And so I went over his house and we hung out. And he pulled out the first Smiths album and the This Charming Man single. And we played them both. And I'm like, holy cow, this is awesome, especially This Charming Man. But he had the UK version of the debut album, and This Charming Man was not on it. So in my mind, I had to track down the import version of the album and that single in order to get all the cool songs, I was digging. Well, the album eventually came out in the US, but they added This Charming Man to the track list. So the best of both worlds. And that's how a lot of Americans first heard it. The version of the album with This Charming Man. So anyway, just real quick, 1982, Morrissey and Johnny Marr came together. They formed a songwriting alliance and went out and started searching for band members. Along comes drummer Mike Joyce, bass player Andy Rourke, and by 1983, the Smiths were together. They put out the single Hand in Glove, This Charming Man, at the end of 83. And then, of course, at the beginning of 84, they put out an album called The Smiths. That's the album that I got turned on to. And then after that, they're a really prolific band, and they would just put out single after single. These singles, a lot of them were non-album tracks. They were sort of following the same path that, the Beatles and the Stones and the Kinks and the Who and stuff had done in the 60s, and the Jam and the Clash had done in the late 70s. The Smiths were doing that. In between albums, they'd put out 2, 3, 4 singles that never made any album. So out comes an album called Hatful of Hollow, and that's a compilation of some of those singles. Then they put out an album called Meat is Murder, and that was just a great leap forward, far more cohesive as an album. And then in 1986, they put out the Queen is Dead album. Oh my God. That is probably the album. If you want to get into the Smiths, and you just don't want to buy a best of, you want to get Queen is Dead. It is just a stellar album, and that is the album that they're probably going to be best known for, although I love Meat is Murder almost as much. But then they fired bassist Andy Rourke, and they brought in a new bassist, Craig Gannon, and they released a couple singles, Panic, which is one of their greatest songs, Ask, and they recorded some other songs. But then, during this time, Andy Rourke came back into the band, and Craig Gannon moved over to guitar. So for a short while, I think through most of 86 or through at least the second half of 86, the Smiths were a 5-piece. But then Craig Gannon left. Then the band put out an album in 1987 called Strange Ways, Here We Come. And it was them branching out a little bit, being a little bit more experimental, a little bit adventurous, adding some keyboards. But unfortunately, by the time the album had come out, Johnny Marr had left the band, and the Smiths essentially split up. 1988, their label released Rank, which was a live album. And then ever since then, their legacy, their legend has continued to grow. I'm very happy that they never got back together, because same reason why I'm happy that the Beatles never got back together. It would never be the same. And artists, I think the Smiths most of all, realize that it's not going to be the same. And the Smiths' music remains timeless to this very day. The reason why I think that they're timeless is because they took influences from the past, but it wasn't rooted in 1983, 84, 85, 86. It was rooted somewhere else. You know, they were constantly looking forward. So in a sense, the music was created in this little bubble with no time reference. So you can't listen to their albums and go, yeah, that has that really 1987 guitar jangle or 1985, synth blips. It still sounds fresh today. You listen to the Smiths and it still sounds like it could have been recorded 2 years ago rather than 40 years ago. 40 years ago. My God. Anyway, the Smiths, an incredible band. I know a lot of people out there love the Smiths. Let me stop talking about the band, and then we will dig into this box set that I'm holding right here. We'll take a look at this box set. Why don't you just sit back, relax, give this a look, and I will see you on the other side. Here is the box set featuring the official Smiths albums on CD, and this came out on Rhino. And open it up there, and it contains a booklet containing information. Now here is the debut album, came out 1984, the beginning 84. This is the American track listing featuring This Charming Man. Contains a reproduction of the inner sleeve, and the album actually produced by John Porter and features Paul Carrack on keyboards on a track or two. This is an album called Hatful of Hollow. It's a collection of non-album A-sides and B-sides plus radio sessions, including Peel sessions. A lot of people prefer these versions. I prefer the actual album versions. This is their second official studio album, 1985, Meet His Murder, produced by the Smiths. This is the UK track listing because the American track listing featured How Soon Is Now. So, but that's on Hatful of Hollow. Now, The Queen is Dead is their magnum opus, an incredible album, came out in 86. And, of course, Gatefold Jacket, and all of these have the reproductions of the original inner sleeves. This is a remaster of the Queen is Dead, and it contains bonus tracks like demos and B-sides. This is a 2 CD version. I believe there is also a 4 CD version that has a DVD and a live album as well. The World Won't Listen is my favorite of the compilations. This features non-album A-sides, B-sides. It features You Just Haven't Earned It Yet, Baby, which was never released except on this comp. And it's a great collection. This is the American compilation that kind of is the best of Hatful of Hollow and The World Won't Listen mixed around, and features the Sire label on the disc there, gatefold sleeve. And their last official studio album, they had actually broken up by the time this album came out, but lots of great songs on that, including Girlfriend in a Coma. And then finally, the Rank album. This is a live album released after the band had split up, and I'm not a fan of live albums, but of course I'm going to hang on to it because it's in the box set. And also it comes with a miniature version of the original poster that was included with the original album. And that is the Smiths official studio releases. There's plenty of compilations out there, but these are the albums really that you want to get, and they're gathered all together here. Well, that's it. That's the Smiths complete box set. Those are all their studio albums. You can track them down on CD, track them down on vinyl, whatever you want. But if you don't own this catalog, you probably should. Start with Queen is Dead, then maybe hit Meet His Murder, then Strange Ways, then the debut, and but definitely World Won't Listen, Louder Than Bombs, Hatful of Hollow. Gosh darn it, I think I just named all the studio albums, didn't I? Yeah, start with the studio stuff. Rank, buy that one last, unless you like live albums. But you know what I did is I decided just to remind you of the legacy of the band, this great music that they recorded. I put together a medley. This is not in chronological order, and I probably didn't include all of your Smiths favorites, but I just thought it would be a good introduction to people maybe who aren't that familiar, or people that should be reminded about how great they are. So sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side.
Panic on the streets of London, panic on the streets of Birmingham. I wonder to myself, and in glow, the sun shines out of our behinds. No, it's not like any other love. This one is different because it's ours. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. Stop me, oh, stop me. Stop me if you think that you've heard this one before. Stop me, oh, stop me. Stop me if you think that you've heard this one. The boy with a thorn in his side, behind the hatred there lies a murderous desire for love. I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear. This man said it's gruesome that someone so handsome should care. Shoplifters of the world, unite and take over. Shoplifters of the world, hand it over, hand it over, hand it over. And now I know how Joan of Arc felt. Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. As the flames rose to her Roman nose, and her Walkman started to melt. And if the day came when I felt a natural emotion, I'd get such a shock I'd probably jump in the ocean. And when a train goes by, it's such a sad sound. It's such a sad thing. You should know. How can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. So what difference does it make? So what difference does it make? It makes none, but now you have gone, and you must be looking very old to know. Do you really think she'll pull through? Do you really think she'll pull through? Girlfriend in a coma, I know it's silly. Ask me, because if it's not love, then it's the bomb that will bring us together. So please, 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 let me get what I want this time.
Well, that's it. I hope this inspires you to check out the music of the Smiths. Remember, I'm not too sure if this box set's still available, but you can probably still buy all these CDs separately. You can buy the vinyl out there. Invest some of your hard-earned cash into the catalog of the Smiths. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.